Welcome to another episode of Issues and Insights. I'm Bryce Shumate from Hardin County Government, and trying to keep with showing folks what's going on in Hardin County Government. Today we're on the scene live with Hardin County EMS, and today with me is our Operations Director, our Senior Supervisor, Jamie Armstrong. Jamie, thanks for being with us today. Yes, glad that you are able to come and show folks throughout Hardin County what we have to offer to keep people safe. And you know, Jamie, I know last year you all at EMS made over 15,000 runs, and so that means that you all stay quite busy.
We do. We stay very busy. Not only are we helping the citizens of the county, but we also help other counties as well in time of need.
And you know, Jamie, as a little boy growing up here, the ambulance service was taken care of by funeral homes back in the day. And you know, if we look from where EMS has progressed from those times where people had basic first aid supplies to paramedics that we have today and EMTs of today that are able to provide such great care,
right,
we're saving a lot of people's lives.
We are. Not only is healthcare at the hospital, but pre-hospital with EMS has progressed throughout the years. There's been lots of equipment changes, upgrades, and lots of technology being brought in, computers, data transmission, things of that nature. And the care has just gone above and beyond what it used to be.
And you know, Jamie, I think you have somewhere around 48 personnel now that are on the road in 3 different 24-hour shifts providing care. But how many trucks do you all actually have rolling every day, you know, to provide care throughout our county?
Every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have 6 ambulances on. They have paramedics and EMTs on the trucks. In addition, we have 1 ambulance that works Monday through Friday that helps us out with facilitating getting people to and from doctor's visits, home from the hospital, back to other counties. We help facilitate that whenever they've come to Hardin Memorial Health that we have a great partnership with. We help facilitate getting those patients back to their communities, whether it be in Hardin County or other communities in the region.
And you know, Jamie, we're here at the E-Town location, which is our main branch, but you all also have a couple of substations throughout the county.
We do. We have 1 substation. We call it our Station 2. It's in the Radcliffe Vine Grove area. It's on the same lot and facility area as Care First. They're at Rogersville Road and Joe Prather Highway, or better known as 313. We have 2 ambulances there. They're both staffed with paramedics. In addition, we also have our 3rd station in Sonora. It's at the Family Care Center there on South Dixie Highway, just prior to the intersection of 31W and Highway 84. And
you know, Jamie, people don't realize sometimes how big, until you start walking and you start responding out throughout Hardin County, people don't realize how big Hardin County is, and the ability to have an ambulance in the southern end of the county and ambulances in the northern end of the county is vital. It is.
You know, time is very lives matter. You know, someone's having a heart attack or stroke. You know, getting them to a definitive care, whether it's Hardin Memorial Health or if it's a traumatic situation, getting them to University of Louisville. Time matters, and Hardin County is one of the largest square area. It's 4th or 5th in the state, and you know, we travel. There's a lot of miles traveled throughout the county.
And you know, Jamie, has the air ambulance that's now stationed in Elizabethtown, has that helped you all quite a bit with say some of these traumatic events that y'all go on? Has that aided you all?
It has. You know, for example, if you have someone that's in a traumatic car accident that they are holding on to life just barely, they have internal injuries that require immediate surgery, or someone that has a gunshot wound, University of Louisville is a level 1 trauma center, and if we take them by ground, it takes anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. Whereas if we utilize Air Methods Kentucky 6 here in Elizabethtown, they're able to get to a definitive level 1 trauma center within 20 to 30 minutes.
But now we're not saying anything. Hardin Memorial is great,
Of course.
a great provider for health care in our county, and so we're not doing that to take away from Hardin Memorial or to even keep patients from going to Hardin Memorial.
Right.
Is it a hard decision sometimes to decide, should I take them on or should I fly them, depending on what time of day it is and so on?
Yes, it is. It's very, there's a lot of thought put into it. Not only do we have to look at, the resources that we have that's on at Hardin Memorial Health, but we have to look at the patient and see how they present to us. And we have guidelines that's set down by the Kentucky Board of EMS that are guidelines for utilizing the air medical community. Fall from a certain height, certain death of an occupant or the death in a vehicle and the person's in the vehicle, that's requirement as well. So we don't, we go by guidelines and procedures and utilize them as appropriately as we can.
And I know there was discussion back before when we've had to call for an air ambulance about the cost of that. And, when we look at that, we're not calling it so that we can have a patient or their family members pay for the higher cost of transport. We're doing that to save a life, where when you're on the scene, you all have to make split-second decisions to make sure these things happen. Am I wrong about that?
No,
or?
you're absolutely correct. We have seconds traditionally to evaluate, assess, look at the big picture. Not only do we look at, like for example, vehicles or the mechanism of the injury or the medical condition. We have just a few seconds to say, yes, we need air medical, or no, let's go by ground. And unfortunately, the weather, of course, this time of year, as you see today, it's cloudy and overcast. We're usually unable to obtain a medical helicopter whenever the weather is inclement. So we have to go by ground. And in some instances, it's very, we wish we had the air medical on certain cases. However, we're very well and able to provide the care that they need between here and there. It's just the time and timeliness of transport.
Absolutely. And Jamie, I know that as our folks are watching this, when anybody has any question on billing or services, they can call in and talk to either yourself or the folks in our billing department and ask about certain services and what's going on as far as transport or care that has gone on, correct?
Yes, that's correct. If we provide a service for someone, they have every right to call in and ask, why was this done, why was that done? And myself or our billing clerk will be more than happy to try to explain it to their best of their ability.
And Jamie, if they're calling in a good number for us to call, and we'll put this down at the bottom of the screen for you all as well, what would be a good number for folks calling in if they did have questions for EMS?
It's 270-769-3014.
And again, we'll put that at the bottom of the screen so that you all can see that. Because I know, we have people that call in and have questions, and we want to make sure that we're very upfront with what we're doing in our treatment of anybody that's in our county.
Yes, that's absolutely.
And Jamie, you also brought up a good point. Sometimes we get so busy that we have folks that actually come in from other counties to help us sometimes because we get so busy, or we even go to their county because they're so busy. So we've got good partners when you start talking about what police used to call backup, right?
Right, we do. We've got a great relationship with Meade County EMS and LaRue County EMS. They're two of our biggest supporters as far as if we need assistance. In addition, we go there as well and help them out whenever they're in the time of need.
Absolutely. And Jamie, one of the things that I've noticed with your all's ambulance is you all have got a new ambulance in. You've got a new design that you all have started putting on your ambulance. A little bit different than the old orange that we used to see.
For whenever EMS first started here in the state, there was requirements and guidelines for striping and specific lettering of the ambulances. However, the days now, basic requirements are that it says ambulance on it. And of course, you have requirements of the lights and the sirens and things. but basically it has to say ambulance and has to show who you are. As far as, for example, us, it's Hardin County EMS, and then it just has to say ambulance on it. However, we kind of went above and beyond with our patterns. You know, we have Fort Knox here locally, and you know, I myself is a veteran, and having the stars and stripes and incorporating that into our logo and our paint scheme and the colors, it says a lot about this community. Hardin County EMS and Hardin County government support veterans and support Fort Knox, and you know, this is something that's been needing to come for a while, and I think it looks great, and it just supports, and
it has worked out very well. I think you all have what, about 5 or 6 new vehicles that this new striping scheme is on, and we've got what, a couple more that are going to be coming in throughout this year.
Yes.
I believe. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're looking at remounting 2 of our current ambulances. And once those are completed, they'll have the new color scheme as well.
And let's go back to that. You talked about remounting ambulances. I know that you all are constantly doing things to try and save our taxpayers and the county money.
We are.
So reutilizing some of the equipment that we have to, what, refurbish it? Can you explain to people
Sure.
what you mean by that?
So when we remount an ambulance, what we do is we repurpose the box of the ambulance. The chassis itself is discarded, and they put a new chassis on the box that we give them. And what they do is, it's just not putting a box on a chassis and we get it back. They go through and completely refurbish. They rewire, they put new updated lights, new updated equipment in the box, but the shell of the box as a whole has stayed the same. They go back through and they repaint the box, and hence we get a brand new ambulance, however, for about half the cost.
I was going to say, isn't it about half? I mean, you know, a brand new ambulance would cost us twice as much money as what you're able to spend with repurposing something like that.
Right. On the road and on the street, a remounted ambulance is approximately $100,000. However, if we were to purchase a new ambulance that is the exact same as what we that we get remounted, would cost us close to $200,000. So we're just trying to be fiscally responsible with the funds that we get from Hardin County government and from the citizens of the county.
And I know that folks appreciate that, because you're still giving above board service to the folks of the county, but you're doing it in a way that tries to save money so that we don't go out here and spend money on some exorbitant brand new vehicle that we're able to still continue to utilize what we have.
Right. You know, our focus is on getting better daily and yearly, and how we're able to do that is we'll save money on vehicles, and we'll repurpose that funds that we would normally utilize on trucks, and with new and more up-to-date equipment, better training, and also we look at overtime. You know, we try to cut overtime, and that also helps us get better equipment, more up-to-date. We try to have the latest and greatest of the equipment that's out there available on the market.
And you know, Jamie, I noticed your supervisor's vehicle over here too. You all put the new striping on that as well, and we see this vehicle going out quite a bit. I know that a lot of times that we have a big event, we see this vehicle along with a couple of ambulances, and people may ask, you know, why that extra vehicle? What's going on there? So
the supervisor, there's 3 supervisors on our shifts. There's 1 per shift, and their daily duties is to provide resources for the crews, whatever they need during the day, answer questions, and so you'll see the vehicle going, responding emergency, and whenever they go to something, for example, car wrecks or extreme medical cases, they're going there to facilitate and to get resources that the crews need. And they're there also to manage other resources, to work with the police department, to work with the fire department. They're there to really keep it all together, to work with the other departments, and you know, work with their medical resources as well. And you know, Jamie, I'm glad you said, great segue into what we want to talk about next, because we have got some wonderful partners with our fire departments throughout our county. We do.
Both our full-time fire departments, but not only that, we've got several volunteer fire departments. There's 14 fire departments across Hardin County. Many of y'all may not know that, but of those 14 fire departments, 3 of those are either full-time or part-time, volunteer and full-time.
Right.
But the other 11 are completely volunteer, and folks may not know that because these folks are coming out on their own time, spending their own money to come out and take care of citizens in our county and to help you all.
Right. We have some of the best first responders, firefighters here in Hardin County. Like Bryce said, we've got approximately 12 volunteer departments, and they're taking their time, their resources, and their funds a lot of the times to come out and help the other people in their community. We would not be able to be as successful as we are if it wasn't for the first responders within the county, because they're in your community, they're your next door neighbors. They're the ones that's coming to help you in a time of need. As much as we would like to be right there, right now, it takes us sometimes a while to get to you, specifically out, the West 84 area, the Bardstown Road area. It takes us a little bit to get. West Point, yeah. And your neighbors, your local firefighter, volunteer firefighters, they're an extension of ourselves. And we do regular trainings with them. We go to meetings with them, and we work as a team. And that's the team concept here. We push that out with the volunteer departments and the paid departments as well, because it's not I that makes a difference, it's the team that makes a difference.
And I appreciate that. We've even come up on scenes where we've had police department giving CPR as we get there too. So I mean, we're very blessed to have the partners that we have with first responders, but we really want to give kudos to our fire department partners, because they are there with us day and night. Many of y'all may not know that just as soon as ambulance is dispatched, a lot of times the fire department is dispatched to aid or provide aid while the ambulance is in route and in service to get there to them. So we really want to thank those folks that spend their time out there too.
And I wanted to also thank, we had the same AEDs, or the automated external defibrillators. Hardin Memorial Health recently, with partnership with Hardin County EMS, but specifically Hardin Memorial Health, went out and they purchased 32 new AEDs. Those AEDs were sent out to the different communities, sent out to the different volunteer firefighter departments throughout Hardin County. So they had the most up-to-date AEDs that's out there on the market today.
And we want to thank Sharon Wright from Hardin Memorial Hospital for helping facilitate that and making sure that happened, because you and I both worked with Sharon to make sure that was a flawless thing, and it gave our fire departments up-to-date AEDs for free that Hardin Memorial provided. And so we want to thank Hardin Memorial greatly for that. Now, Jamie, I know some of the things that you all have in the ambulance is not only for life-saving equipment, but some of the things that we have are actually meant for safety measures for our employees as well.
They are. What we've got 2 different devices here. We have the stretcher, or a lot of people call them the cot. The stretcher is called a power cot. It's made by Stryker, and what it does, and I'll show you here in just a second, but what it does is it goes away from the physically lifting of the stretcher. You push a button and it has hydraulics, and it lifts the stretcher up with the patient on it. In addition, you push another button and it releases and it lowers it down. So, and in addition, we have the power load. So what that does is, traditionally, whenever you come to the ambulance, it hooks on, and you and your partner pick the stretcher up, you push the button and the legs come up, and then you load it in. But with the power load, it completely takes away having to lift the stretcher into the ambulance anymore. Not only does it help the crew members, it's safety for the patient. Safety for the crew members from hurting their backs, straining, or stressing themselves throughout the day, because we take care of thousands of patients a year, and multiple times. And that's another way of us trying to not only help our citizens, help the personnel, but also helps keep costs low on workmen's comp related injuries.
I was going to say, that's one of the things a lot of people don't realize, that we were able to drop our workman's comp rates and save the county quite a bit of money on those. Yeah. Thank goodness Mr. Roberts and others at the county government were able to find ways to look at our workman's comp to drop money down, and I mean, be able to utilize that money in other places rather than spending it in insurance. That we were able to save some of those injuries that we had going on.
You're right, and unfortunately, you know, over the years, there's been many great paramedics and EMTs that had to get out of the career because of career-ending injuries due to the stretcher, or lifting, or bending,
back injuries.
Right, it was inherent of the job. To get some form of injury. However, now, because of the technology and the resources that we have, we're able to get things for the crew members that will keep them in this career for many years.
Jamie, let's show people how this comes out.
So we'll lift this up. This is the kick bumper. You push the button down. It brings it out. It stops there. And then, like I said, you push the button, it lowers it down. What's keeping it up is two arms that go underneath the stretcher. And then you hit the next button, unlocks it.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. It's on a little bit of an incline, so it catches a little bit. And then once you're out and you get to the hospital or get wherever you're going, you just push the other button, it lowers it down. And then whenever you want to raise it back up. So there's no more lifting.
And you know, Jamie, this is the device that's picking it up and taking it in back in there.
So what happens is it locks in and it flashes yellow showing you that there's nothing locked into it. And these two arms raise up underneath the stretcher, and it holds the stretcher up off the ground, and it takes the pressure off so you can raise the legs up. And that's what it allows. And once it's in, it slides in on a track system and locks into place. The new standard or national standard for these is it has to have the new locking and mounting system. And that's safety not only for the patient, because it's locked to the ambulance. So you don't have any more issues of the stretcher coming loose and like a rollover incident where the stretcher would come loose from the old style mounting system. It will not come loose from this if there was a rollover accident.
And again, that's one reason why we're buckling the patient in as well, to prevent that too.
Yes. And with the new stretchers, we also have, you know, if you think about the old style stretchers, they have the old rails that come up and they're 90 degrees. Well, now, because of the new technology that's out there, they call them wings. But they're for patients' comfort, because not everybody is little, not everybody's big. So the equipment was always made for a standard. Well, now it's adjustable. So if you need more area to cover, it allows you the more comfort measure. And also with the belts, you're able to loosen those a little bit more.
Now, Jamie, I know a lot of times, unfortunately, we have heart conditions that go on across the county, and cardiac arrest.
Yes.
And I know that one of the things that y'all were doing was to try and make this a heart-safe community.
Yes.
And actually, you achieved that. Hardin County is now considered a heart-safe community.
It is.
And that was through several different initiatives. One of those initiatives was through this device that you've got behind us.
Yes, the Lucas 2 device. What the Lucas 2 is a automated CPR device. So the traditional way of doing CPR, hands on the chest, performing CPR manually, is what we did for years and years and years. However, because of technology and because of resources and working with the magistrates and Judge Barry, we were able to purchase these for every ambulance that's on the road today in Hardin County. And I'll get this out and show you how it works. It looks a little rudimentary, however, it doesn't get tired. It does a perfect compression and a perfect rate every time you get it out of the box and you turn it on. There's no more stopping to get out of people's houses, no more stopping compressions to get somebody in an ambulance. It's continuous. And it's safety as well, because you think about it, you see how this ambulance is, and we're driving down the road with lights and sirens to the hospital. It allows all persons in the ambulance to be secured and sit down. Whereas before, you would have to stand up and perform CPR. So it's another safety measure that the county looked at and saw a need for. And I'll get this out and show you how it works. It's put in a backpack form, so it's easily taken in and out. This goes underneath the patient's back, underneath the arms here on the back of the chest. And what that does is allow a stable platform for them.
And you know, Jamie, the cost savings that we talked about with the ambulance and workman's comp are some of the ways that we're able to purchase up-to-date equipment like this.
It is. There's, you know, just trying to be fiscally responsible, thinking about how we can save money and how we can take care of our people and also take care of the people of the county. You know, just thinking of, there's always new equipment out there, but is it good for us? And this was one of the tools that we saw that was a need for the community because of the resources. You know, the volunteer firefighters are doing an exceptional job. However, you get tired. If you're doing CPR for 20 or 30 minutes, if you do it adequately and correctly every single chest compression, you're going to get tired within 2 to 4 minutes, no matter how good a shape you're in. So this is on the patient underneath the back, and you put it on, it clicks in. It's usually easier whenever you're on a different surface than the stretcher. So you turn it on, and it's battery operated, and we carry spare batteries in the device. In addition, we carry an AC adapter that we can plug in and then plug into the truck if we're a long way out, if we're 30 or 40 minutes from the hospital. So
because you've got a generator that's in the truck that's providing that electricity, correct?
Generators and converters as well. So not only whenever it's plugged in, it'll charge the battery, but it also runs the device. So we have it on, we lower this down to the patient's chest. We lower this down to the patient's chest, and once it's touching the chest in the appropriate position, then we hit the start button. And like I said, it does the exact same compression and rate every single time, and it doesn't get tired. We actually can feel, whenever this thing is on and performing, we can actually feel a pulse in the radius. Whereas, and what that means is, if you're getting oxygen and blood down here to your hand, then it's getting it to the brain, it's getting it to the lungs and to the heart.
So a vital piece of equipment that you are utilizing here.
Exactly.
And you know, Jamie, you wonder when you start looking at pieces of equipment like this, once you get that, you sometimes wonder, how were you ever able to provide consistent CPR with people as we were transporting them?
You know, these devices, not only are we using them in our community, but there's other communities throughout the states that's utilizing these types of devices. And of course, with anything, there's different manufacturers and different types and versions. But, you know, we got them, we're utilizing them. First day out of the box, we actually saved someone's life with early CPR. You know, and that kind of ties into Pulse Point. You know, we got close to 5,000 downloads of our Pulse Point app. And you know, that's a great tool as well. It's actually been utilized. We had a group of nurses at one of the local restaurants.
So if you all would like to know how to download Pulse Point, it is a free app that Hardin County government pays for. You can go on your smartphone, both Android and Apple products, and look up on the App Store and download that. Jamie, our time goes by very quickly when we're doing this, and we just thank you all for joining us. And Jamie, we thank you all and the folks at Hardin County EMS for all that you all do to keep our folks safe and well treated in our community. And thank you for joining us here on Hardin County Educational and Community TV, where we try to keep you informed of what's going on in this great county of Hardin, but more importantly, what's going on in your child's life in the Hardin County school system. Today's episode is sponsored by Hardin County Government and the Hardin County School System. I'm Bryce Shumate along with Jamie Armstrong. Thanks for joining us, and remember, school is starting back this next week. Be careful. Watch for those school buses and the young people standing on the side of the road. Have a great day.